like, you could be in the lab. I went to try to get into med school.
Okay.
So, once again.
A stepping stone.
Yeah. So, it was just, I was pre-med chemistry, and that was what my life was. Again, chemistry, because, like, relationships, covalent bonds, and thinking of love and song. It was so weird. That was the only way I could remember stuff. So, but yeah, once I came to that unexpected halt, it forced me to go in and just stop. And everything that was like predestined, pre-planned, I had to really come in and say, like, what do I love to do? So I started looking at photography. Even I picked up a camera and started shooting. Met some friends and learned some really cool, like, that's something I really love too. So just exploring the creative side of me was just like, that was where that boom happened.
So you go to school, you think that things are set in motion and that things are just gonna fall into place as you're working it through. Then you get to the end of college and the jobs or things that you thought were supposed to happen doesn't happen.
Right.
So you break off and say, I'm going to take some creative breaks right now. Right. And you pick up photography and you have all this writing and music that you've been doing. And then whose idea is it to make an album?
I had a great friend by the name of John Brister, who's like an amazing producer. And he was one of the people we came together and like, let's make a creative space. So we rented out a building. I had the photography studio. My friend Daniel Crenshaw had video. And John had the music studio part. So we were just like in Kansas, like, hey, this is perfect. We have our little like playground, and we were just creating. And I would go chill with John, and I'm like, you know what do you think of these songs? So we got together, and it didn't seem like I was making an album. I just felt like I want to do this. And it was fun. I mean, Kansas, you can either tip cows or whatever, but for me, making music was everything. So we were just kind of out there just making the best sense of life that we could, and met some cool musicians and artists, and yeah, that break just allowed me to just tap into the creative scene.
Start laying tracks, vocals on it. Yeah. It was your vocals, it was you singing?
Yep, me singing. John, I even did the original like scores of the music, but he put his magic on it. He's a great producer. Like a lot of them, he's playing the piano. But yeah. What
kind of music was it? Pop, jazz?
Feel good music.
Feel good?
Yeah, just feel good. It was called, ironically, I called it Inner Layer.
Okay.
So that was just...
You're remembering now?
Yeah, it's just like, okay, great, yeah. Just thinking of everything, so...
How long ago was that? Because you're young,
was
so...
in 2009.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not too far back.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a lifetime. It
does feel like, well, that was a while ago, but I remember my friend heard my music and was like, you should come to Atlanta and meet, CSAC. So I don't know what music all entails. So I came to Atlanta, and I showed a representative at CSAC my music. He's like, you've done a lot to be, he's like, this is a good package to show someone. And so I became affiliated with CSAC and writing and publishing. So that was new to me, but it was just like cool, because I was like, just taking these steps, because as
into
an
the
artist,
business.
Yeah, because as an artist, you seek and find. There's no exact formula, and I think that's the beauty of it all.
Seek and find. I like that. That's hard. That's the real process.
It really is.
Yes. So you come, you get your legalities out the way, because I'm sure through CSAC you published your music and got your copyrights and all that. Did you think that you were going to follow on to the music footsteps, or what did you want to do coming to Atlanta? What was the plan?
Atlanta was my first step out of independence. I lived at home with my mom, just like, hey, well, I don't have the job I want, so let me just live in my mom's basement and make the best of it and stack money and work and be creative. But
so all this time you did work. When you had that studio and you were doing music, did you have a regular job?
I was a pharmacy technician.
Oh, okay.
Again, it was nothing. Literally, it was nothing that my degree. I went to Walgreens, applied, and just.
They're like, oh, you have a degree in chemistry. All right, sure. Pre-med chemistry.
Nothing for that. It was just like, all you needed was a high school diploma.
Put some pills in the bottle.
Right. And just assist the pharmacist when you can. And I just was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the best at it. So I had Walgreens train me. I was like, I want to be a senior technician. Because it was just that level of like, if I'm going to do it, I want to be the best. Like that's just always, that I can say that from my family. That was instilled in me, like, never, like, you know, my dad was crazy. You're Williams, you will do the best. So I was like, okay. I was like, okay. So I did that, and luckily, that's the same career that carried me over to come to Atlanta, because I came with, I think, $1,000 to my name, and I had a roommate, and just came out living, and it was just crazy. Like when I first came to Atlanta, driving was scary. Like it was just everything was weird. I would only make right turns because left turn, like traffic scared me. A lot of fears because it was just like, wait, and people were like, girl, sit down. Like this is, you should adjust, but it was just a lot of evolving for me because, it was new, but I knew I outgrew the fishbowl in Kansas. I needed more. Like, I wanted to dream huge.
Right.
And this city it still has that, you can meet genuine people, which reminds me of Kansas. But it also has that city vibe that you have to grind. I mean, and it's possible to be here and create, and meeting the right people, people will support you, and it gives you leverage to just be creative, or if you want to go that route of being a doctor or whatever, there's schools here. So I've constantly been balancing, but just seeing what life has in store is going to be interesting. A lot of babbling there, but
no, it's all right. That's the process. So you're here. You have music, CSAC. Then did you get a pharmacy job when you get here to Atlanta?
That was one of the first things? And that's the crazy thing because as I'm going out in Atlanta and I'm realizing $1,000 isn't anything, because I would go out and at a minimum would spend $40. It was just like it would fly out of my pockets. I'm like, okay, now what? So I applied for jobs here and there, and it was a blessing because I ended up teaching farm tech students.
Oh, nice.
And it required, that you had a certain level of experience, and so that was really cool. I never thought I would be a teacher, but I mean, it's like, hey, I'll take it. It's a job, so
And how did Emory come into the picture?
Emory came into the picture because as a farm tech, I also worked at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Okay.
And I've always been fascinated with technology. And so I'm always thinking about systems of technology and how things could be better. Or with my aspirations of wanting to be in med school at one point, always wanting to help others, I would always think about like, man, this could be a better process if. And I would literally draw out plans and give it to like the pharmacist and be like, here, this is what I think should happen. And people were always like, huh. So once the Emory program opened up for informatics, I mean, it's really new. Right. So I just took, my educational side and said, like, this is cool. Like, project management, I never heard of it in life. It was nothing I intended to do, but I was like, this is something that's useful. Right. So
you applied and went to school.
Went to school. It's been a battle. I just finished before Thanksgiving. I had to like sit down and put my creative side on hold for a little bit, but it meant a lot to me just to go ahead and complete it. So
So are you walking when in May? Are you going to walk or?
I don't want to walk.
No.
I just really, at this point, I just want to
be done. It's a complete project.
Done. Completed project.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've done it, and just see what, I guess, career-wise, if I need it, it's there.
Mm-hmm. Right. If you need it, if you need the professional route,
yeah,
the stack of money is waiting for you.
It's there. If I can sit in a cubicle or sit in
an office,
then it's there.
Yes. All right. So you're in Emory. You're here in Atlanta, and of course you're passionate about creative stuff. Mm-hmm. So where does Cultivating Cultures come from? How did that begin?
So Cultivating Cultures came from being in the scene and just really appreciating like the different artists that I've just been seeing. Also, I was in a band with Nino Augustine, the OPE band. Mm-hmm. So with that, I was, able to see the music side of Atlanta, the music scene, the art scene, because I find with music and art, it's a marriage. Like, it just makes sense. And I've also dabbled a little bit with photography, haven't gone hardcore, but I did have the opportunity to work with Derek Blanks and to master some skills. Mm-hmm. So just the enjoyment, when you're doing something and even if you lose sleep over it, don't eat while you're in that element, it's just like, this is my passion. Mm-hmm. So looking at all the amazing people, thinking of myself as well, I just felt like a platform needed to be structured so we could be seen, and that's where Cultivating Cultures came from. Nino Augustine and I, at first, we started a music event called Beyond the Hype, mm-hmm. which was just us. We were like, you know what, we're tired of playing music in clubs, like we want our music to be heard. Mm-hmm. So Beyond the Hype was structured to get local artists a platform to perform on a stage, mm-hmm. Where we ultimately ended up at the Arts Exchange, which one show turned to a bigger show, and mm-hmm. everybody just enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it was one of those situations where it was like out of pocket, mm-hmm. but we always strive to be creative, so we came up with other events and things like that. And when I decided to venture out on my own, Cultivating Cultures is what arose, because my vision was for utilizing what I've learned with project management and applying it to the creative side, mm-hmm. trying to find like, okay, there has to be some sense with this. And just realizing how it was received. Like when the ability to think of something, I'm thinking of ideas all day, constantly. Mm-hmm. But then to also figure out, let me write a proposal for this and let me see if I can present it to someone. And finally getting some, we'll support that. It was like, so all the things I've learned at Emory and the program about how to write a proposal mm-hmm. for other things, it still applied to the creative side to mm-hmm. get things that I wanted to come my way. So it's mm-hmm. not always like, let me go in my pockets, and I'm still learning daily on ways to reach out and make this a business as well. Mm-hmm. But
because it's nice to have a creative outlet, it's nice to express yourself mm-hmm. and have fun, but somebody has to pay for something. Right. And when you put it on events and shows, people enjoy it. They come out, they hear the music, and most of the time it's the artists who don't ever make much money out of it, enough to make a living, enough to continue that process, enough to invest back onto themselves. Mm-hmm. And so you saw that and looked at it as a project in itself, saying, what can we do to improve this here?
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes. It's you have to feel it for it to mean mm-hmm. something, So just seeing that, and I mean, it's crazy how, you know, you can do something and it impacts so many people, and then they think, you know, they